What's up, party people? Podcasting from the land of the rising sun. This is Dark Cloud Podcast, here to let you know that every dark cloud has a silver lining. And I'm your host, D.L. Hayes. Welcome to this week's episode of Dark Cloud Podcast, episode 4, entitled Ways to Stay Positive. Now, I'm just going to keep it all the way 100 for you. The struggle is really real. The struggle has been really real, and I've truly been tested on this topic. This was a requested topic from a listener, and I hope a few things that I say here, or at least one thing, helps someone out. Ways to stay positive. I should just tell you guys about the past 24 hours. Actually, I take that back. The past 48 hours. OMG. You ever have those days that you feel like everything that could go wrong is just going wrong? And I hate when I have feelings of something is going to go wrong and it goes wrong. That's that negativity, right? It's so easy to be negative. It really and truly is. That's the easy way out. And positivity can be a challenge. And when I say this, I'm referring to myself, but if you can relate, let me get an amen. The past 48 hours has proven to me that you really need to practice what you preach. And that's what I try my best to do. I'm human, and I have my flaws. But I try to practice what I preach. And I started recording this episode a couple days ago, but technical difficulties arose. And so I had to record the episode again. I sat down in my booth / the Tommy room. And I recorded the episode. I recorded the entire episode, so I thought. Everything was set up. Mic check 1 2 1 2. My computer program was set up. Everything. It was even showing me that it was recording. For some reason, it was inaudible. And I had to woosah. I had to determine what was next. So that takes me into my 5 ways that I stay positive. The first way, oh my gosh, this first thing I really had to work through because it was not easy. The first point I have is being in control of your emotions and deciding how to feel. Being in control of your emotions and deciding how to feel. So with all of these things that I've been going through in the past 48 hours, I had to control my emotions and decide how I was going to feel, because that determines what's next. And like I said, it's so easy to be negative, even down to my voice. You hear it cracking. I've been struggling for the past 2 weeks with my voice, but I've been determined to not let it get me down. It's very discouraging, especially when you're recording and you can hear yourself. I can barely breathe and talk at the same time. But I made it a point to control my emotions, not get frustrated with it, and to decide how I feel about it. And the way I feel about it, I'm confident about it. You can hear me, you can understand me. So I just trust that you understand and can bear with my voice. But that is a thing. I had to choose how I was going to feel about it. I couldn't let it hold me back or stop me. And I use my voice all day, every day. It's a challenge, it's a struggle, but doing this, actually being in control of my emotions and deciding how I feel, helps me to stay positive with situations, circumstances. The next thing is, all of these tie into each other if you ask me. They all go hand in hand. My second point, accepting things that are out of your control, or accepting when things are out of your control. So I'm going to go back to my voice. I was initially had allergy stuff going on. Then it turned into a head cold. And now I'm still in recovery. I can't help my allergies. I can take medicine and get better. I can't help that I got a cold. That's not really in my control, because once it happens, there's nothing I can do about it. I have to control my emotions and decide how I'm going to feel. Now, my coach in college, he really taught me this lesson just by him being himself. He didn't sit me down and say, hey, you need to do this. But when it came to things that were out of his control, he never made a big deal out of it. He never got extremely frustrated, even when it came down to coaching us. He knew that he could only do but so much. He couldn't actually do the job for us. So things would happen, and it's like everyone or people would be upset about it, and he would just be nonchalant, like, okay, what do you want me to do? Well, you don't care, that, etc., etc. I don't care. It's going to be okay. It's going to work itself out. So being negative is easy, but being positive and just doing your part, doing what you can, and accepting when things are out of your control is so hard. But he taught me that lesson, and it really helped me out, because previously in the past, I would get bent out of shape about stuff. Stuff that I could not control. Stuff that no matter what I did, there was nothing I could do about it. And I would get frustrated and upset about it. But when I think about it, when I really sat down and said, you know what? How does that really help me? How does that contribute to the solution? Most of the time, negativity does not really help you. So that was a very important lesson that I learned, and it helped me tie those two together of being in control of your emotions and deciding how you feel, plus accepting when you are not in control, when things are out of your control. Now, my third point, originally, I can't say I was ashamed or embarrassed, but I just thought it was silly. I thought it was very silly, just silly. But the third thing is a mental happy place. So I don't even know where I got this idea from or where it came from. If I read an article, talking to someone, I don't know. But creating a mental happy place where I can go, even if it's just for a split second or for a few minutes while I gather and collect myself. I created a mental place that calms me down, refocuses me, centers me, and helps me reason and rationalize objectively and not subjectively, because I don't like to act on emotions. Sometimes that may be a good thing. Other times it may not be. I like to be logical, reasonable, and objective. And going to my mental happy place, really just helped me say, you know what? Whatever is in front of me right now is not working in my favor. I'm not dealing well with it right now. Let me dial it back. Woo-saw, if you will. So essentially, That's what your mental happy place is. A place where you can woo-saw mentally. Close your eyes, walk back and forth 3 times, hop on one leg, whatever. Whatever it is that takes you to a mentally good place. It's good to have that. Creating a good and positive mental environment can help things be more bearable. Now, I'm very particular about my word choice. I will not use the word easy with any of these points. Because sometimes you have to go through things. It's a process. Sometimes you may even know the process. And it's like, okay, I know that I just need to get through this and make it more bearable. And so that's what these 5 ways to stay positive really is about. Making situations and things more bearable. The 4th point, good hobbies / outlets. The better you know yourself, the better you can tailor this list to yourself. Because what works for me may not necessarily work for you, because we're all different. So for me, I'm very hands-on. I like to be doing things. I like to exert energy and move. So some good hobbies or outlets that I have, anything with fitness, sports, working out, anything along those lines. Other things I do, listening to music. I'll throw some jazz on, or the latest hip hop and R&B, oldies, instrumentals, anything. Sometimes I listen to nature, hear some raindrops, birds chirping, whatever I need in that moment. Sometimes music takes me there. Then I like playing and making music. So, I play instruments. So making music on those really helps me. The other things that help me out, writing. I have 3 notebooks that I take with me everywhere. I keep a stack of index cards, not the 5x7, but the bigger ones. I keep those with me to write down thoughts, ideas, feelings. Sometimes I write poetry. Sometimes I draw. Those things I turn to because it helps me, especially writing things out. Sometimes I use the notes in my phone, but when I write it down, I can look at it and say, really? That's what you want to say? Do you hear how that sounds? And I can have a visual of what it looks like. And sometimes that helps me focus and get my life together. So these are my good hobbies and outlets. You have to do what works for you. Some people like to meditate. Some people like to do arts and crafts. Whatever floats your boat and helps you be positive. I would try to find something like writing. I can do writing anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter. So I would try to find at least a few things that I can do on the go or at any time, any place. Just find a few things you can do so that no matter what situation you're presented with or circumstance or whatever, you have a quick outlet to refer to. Now, this last point, my 5th way that I stay positive. This last way is important. I think it can make or break you, but I don't think it's the most important. It's definitely high up there. But the last thing on ways to stay positive, your circle. Whoever you have surrounding you, your person, whomever. That's going to be essential in you remaining positive. So, for example, if I have a problem, I have a few people that I can present the problem to and say, hey, this is the problem. This is my thought process on the solution. This is my solution. Or this is what I'm going to say. What is your take on it? Now,